Welcome to another episode of SEO B.S. brought to you by myself. But anyway, in this episode, we're going to talk about cookie cutter marketing agencies. The cookie cutter approach, baby. I think you know what I'm talking about when I say cookie cutter. We don't need to talk about what really the cookie cutter approach is. They kind of keep it simple. The cookie cutter marketing agency, a cookie cutter approach, is really giving the same advice over and over and over again. You're giving the same advice to all your clients. It's not different advice. You're really not doing the best thing. You're not learning about your clients, the pros and cons. You're not learning about your client's website. You're not learning about the client's brand and their competition and competitor research. All you're doing is using these tools to kind of spin it back to your clients, and you just give the clients the same bullshit advice over and over and over and over and over again. That's the cookie cutter approach, baby. That's what we're going to talk about today in this episode of SEO B.S. Now, by the way, got my green juice. Have to take a sip. But anyway, really, when we start diving into this, what is the pros and cons when we start talking about the cookie cutter marketing agency, the cookie cutter approach? Now, I can spin this several different ways. Even if we talk about marketing agencies that have a niche market, and I'll give you an example, maybe a marketing agency, their niche market is the medical industry. Okay, so all their clients are inside the medical industry. Maybe they have a niche market of dentists. You know, there's marketing agencies that focus only on dentists or the dental industry. Okay, so that's really kind of a cookie cutter approach because you're kind of picking on niche market marketing agencies. Now then you have marketing agencies that are on the other side that they have a variety of clients, but they have clients in different industries. Okay, so how does a cookie cutter approach affect both? Okay, now it's easy to comprehend that when we talk about a niche market, you know, I'm going to pick on the dental industry here. I'm going to pick on not the dental industry, but I'm going to pick on the dental industry inside the marketing agency. It's easy to say, well, they have the cookie cutter approach because they end up giving the same advice to all their clients because it's easy to do because all your clients are in the dental industry. So it's easy. It makes sense that you're going to give the same advice to all your clients. Okay, but how does that, when you kind of go over and push over to just a general marketing agency that has a bunch of clients, they could have 80 clients, okay, and all their 80 clients are in different industries. Okay, now there is a pro to that. Okay, the pro sometimes is the marketers, the digital marketers, or people doing their SEO, you know, they kind of get exposed to many different industries. They get exposed to, you know, large companies, mid-sized companies, small companies. They get exposed to entrepreneurs. So they kind of have a broader experience than somebody who works just in a niche market. Okay, but how does a cookie cutter marketing agency, you know, affect just a general marketing agency? Now, the way I want to put it here, because it's SEO B.S., I love this. Since I've kind of been an insider, I've worked for marketing agencies. I've been, hired by companies, in-house. Of course, I've been with digital media agencies. I work for a niche market at digital media agencies, and so forth and so forth. So what we have to understand when we just talk about a general marketing agency is that when it really comes down to scaling their business, okay, remember, now I'm an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. So if you're an entrepreneur, you have a business, you want to scale your services, you want to scale your business. So one of the ways that a marketing agency will scale their services, okay, is this. Are you ready? But anyway, one of the ways a marketing agency will scale their services is, remember, what's the product? A marketing agency's product is clientele, is clients. So a marketing agency wants to make more money, okay, they have to bring in more clients. That's the only way. So their product is clients. So when you bring in more clients, what happens is in the beginning, if a marketing agency has growing pains and maybe they get popular over a short period of time for whatever reason, and they're juggling 80 clients a month. Well, and they're running a very lean team. Okay, and we'll get to a team in a second. Hopefully, I don't forget, by the way. But we'll get to the team in a second. That when they're running when they're scaling 80 clients, when you're trying to do the best thing for every single client and you have 80 clients, it's just not going to happen. You have to set up, you have to have some type of system in place. And this system that goes across these marketing agencies is really the cookie cutter approach. Okay, when they try to systematize their business, they try to systematize their agency, and what starts to end up happening is you do the same thing for all your clients. You tend to give them the same advice. Even in, you have different clients in different industries, you tend to give them different advice. Another thing, what they try to do to kind of scale their services is, of course, they use all these marketing tools, SEO tools, and stuff like this. And I'm not picking on the tools. The tools are very, very awesome to use. It's the same thing of using SEO tools or competitor research tools or competitor tools like SpyFu and stuff like this. Those tools are awesome. But what's happening is, it's how these marketing agencies are using these tools. Most of the time, they're just plugging stuff in and inside these tools like SpyFu, and SpyFu will just print out reports, and they're just giving you the report. They themselves are not spending the time to get to know your competitors. They themselves are not going on Google and really researching. They themselves are not getting to know your brand more and more and more so they can help you with branding. What they're doing is doing these reports and spitting them back at you, and it makes it look like they've done all this stuff, but all they've done is use these tools to print out reports. Okay, so to me, that's a little bit of a cookie cutter approach. They're giving you the same advice, but they're trying to cut corners because they have to. You have to understand they have to. Is because they have 80 clients, 100 clients every single month they got to manage with a 5 or 6 or 8 person team. I mean, these agencies are very small. So, that's what you have to understand. Is they don't have time. They just don't have time. And especially when you dig inside SEO, and SEO is huge. There's too much to be done. As an SEO guy myself, I do all my own SEO. SEO guy myself, it's very, very time consuming. I could easily sit here 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and do my SEO, and it's not done. Okay, because once you do one thing, it leads into another thing. Once you do something else, it leads into something else. Once you go into content strategy, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, so forth and so forth. So there's always something to do. And when a marketing agency is only giving you 10 hours a month of their time, best case scenario, well, what are they really doing for you? So most of the time, these not big time, I don't want to say big time. Most of the time, these marketing agencies that focus on small business, when they get up to 50 clients a month, 60, 70, 80 clients a month, they have to systematize. They have to, because it becomes chaotic at that point. But what the bottom line is, it's good for them. It's good for them and their business. They're scaling their business, because remember, a marketing agency is a business, but they're not doing the best thing for you as a paying client. Bottom line. So let's kind of flip over to when we talk about scaling, let's kind of flip over to and talk about a cookie cutter marketing agency. Okay, more of a niche marketing agency, an agency that they're only in one industry, and that's it. They're not handling multiple industries. They're only in one thing. Okay. Now, at first glance, you think that, well, that's great, because they're going to have more in-depth knowledge of that industry. And let's kind of, on the topic of my mind right now is the medical field, the medical industry, or if you're in the dental industry, something like that, you might gravitate towards a marketing agency that all their clients are dentists, all their clients are urgent care practices, all their clients are in the medical field. Because one of the things you start noticing is that you start thinking, well, they already have the domain knowledge. Okay, they already know all the medical terms. They already know all the medical products. They already know all the laws that go inside the medical industry. So they don't have to learn all this stuff. Okay, now that could be a downfall for a regular marketing agency that is in a whole bunch of different industries. maybe they don't have a client that owns a dental practice and they want to do your marketing or SEO. Well, it makes sense to me that they're going to have to get some domain knowledge. They're going to have to do some homework and do some research, and it could take a couple months. You're paying them for a couple months for them to gather domain knowledge so they can help you. Okay, so you think that way, and you think, well, they already know. They're going to, right when I hire them, there is no domain. They don't have to get domain knowledge because they already have it. Okay, now that could be a pro. Okay, but remember, they themselves, a niche market, is a cookie cutter agency themselves. Okay, what you don't think about here is they're giving the same advice to everybody. They're giving the same advice to all their clients. Like I said, they have to. If they're running a large agency, they're managing 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 clients a month. Well, you kind of have to use common sense here. Okay, again, they have to systematize. Okay, now they're systematizing, they're in one industry. Okay, but still, it's the same thing when you start systematizing. Is the way they make more money is having more clients. So when they systematize, they end up giving people the same advice over and over and over and over and over again. You can jump on Google, but you can jump on a search engine, Google, Bing, Yahoo, or whatever, and just do basic homework yourself. And this is what you start finding. For example, if you're a dentist and your competitors around your area, local area, and surrounding cities, well, go to all their websites. What you start finding is most of their websites are all the same. They're all almost identical. You will find some that's literally like for like. Bottom line, because what they've done is they've hired a marketing agency, either a niche market or in different industries. Okay, they're using the cookie cutter approach, and when you hire them maybe to do your website, web design, they ask you what you like. They ask you what websites do you like, and you give them an example, and they just do it like for like. Okay, well, you have to understand this. When you do stuff like for like, for one, as a user, you don't stand out. Okay, when you think about branding, you don't have a unique brand, but you just copied somebody else's. Okay, you just you have a dental office. You yourself, if you're a dentist, your niche market is dental clients yourself, people coming to you, clean their teeth, cavities and stuff like that, or you have dental product, but that's not a brand. A niche market is not a brand. A brand, remember, for me to give you advice on branding, with branding, one, a strong brand ranks higher up on the search engines. Okay, branding is a key to SEO ranking. So when you think about a brand, this is what I can tell you. When you think about branding, a strong brand connects with people. It pulls people in. People want to follow you. People want to be part of your company, part of your movement. That's a brand. So when you think about branding, is one of the hardest things to do when you think as an entrepreneur. If you have a business, you have a dental practice, you're a dentist. What's your brand? What do you stand for? It's beyond. Companies have mediocre mission statements and so forth and so forth. A mission statement is not a brand. What do you stand for? How do you connect with people? Okay, this is true branding. You want to pull people in. Why should somebody come to your dental practice? And I'm using dentist as an example over a competitor that is like for like. They can do the same thing you can do. Okay, one way you're gonna win, one way you're gonna stand out is have a strong brand. And a strong brand, again, is not like for like. You don't have a like for like website. Okay, and this is something that you can do yourself, and I've done for clients as well, where you start searching and sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't. You know what I mean? So branding is huge if we're going to talk about SEO, ranking, and so forth and so forth. Okay, now another thing when we talk about a cookie cutter approach is in both agencies. Okay, when we start talking about confidentiality agreements, when you start talking about competitor research, usually with a niche market or a niche market agency, is lots of times they will have you as a client And they will also have your competitors as clients. Okay, so when I say they give everybody the same advice, well, they're giving you the same advice as they give your competitors. And sometimes they share that knowledge, even though they shouldn't, but it's hard to prove. Again, they're under a confidentiality agreement, but again, when you look at legal, I'm not an attorney, but being in the industry for a long time, most of the time, meetings and everything are done over phone calls, and Zoom meetings are done in person. So you can't really prove it that they're sharing information about different clients that they really shouldn't be. This happens on both scales of regular agencies, niche market agencies. It does happen. But it happens way more than you think it happens. But that's something to think about. That's something to know about when you think about cookie cutter marketing agencies, is that they could have your competitors, and they're giving your competitors the same advice as they give you. Okay, and it's not thought through advice. Like when I look at thought through advice, okay, it's time consuming. It's time consuming for me to know, no matter if I'm in the medical industry or not, okay, if I know your industry or not, if I have deep domain knowledge or not, it's time consuming. Okay, even, both ways, if I have a lot of knowledge or not, it's still time consuming, because I got to get to know you. I got to get to know you, the business owner. I got to get to know you to help strengthen your brand and stick things in there, give you things to think about so you can strengthen your brand, how we can pull people in, why do they want to be part of your movement, part of your company? Why do they want to come to you over a competition, a competitor? That's a strong brand. Okay, that takes time. That takes time for me to sit down and research and think, and look at your website and think about user friendliness. And think about if I'm a user, going to your website, what's the difference between you and me jumping ship to somebody else? This is going kind of beyond SEO, but this is all part of SEO, because remember, SEO is user friendliness of your site, being appealing to your site. When you look at copywriting and sales copy, of your web pages, what piques your interest, what keeps people on your website, and so forth and so forth. These are all SEO, just knowledge-based stuff, but it's time consuming, because I gotta sit here and think, I gotta sit here and spend real time knowing your company, knowing your business, and knowing you. So at every agency, they should be taking that time. They shouldn't be just throwing reports at you. Okay. Now, if they're doing Google ads and Facebook ads, it's easy to do reports every single week, because when you do Google ads, I can run a report. If you do Facebook ads, it gives me weekly reports or whatever I want, and I just spit it back to you, and it looks like I've done a lot of work. But I really didn't. So lots of times they just spend way too much time on these reports to give you than they're actually doing work. But on that topic, I'm really kind of getting off the topic of cookie cutter marketing agencies. But other than that, my friends, to kind of wrap up this episode of SEO B.S. and cookie cutter marketing agencies, I just wanted to give you some advice out there. That way you yourself, if you're looking to hire a marketing agencies, give you some thoughts, kind of give you some good advice out there. That way you can make the best decision possible for you. And of course, if you ask me my opinion, if you're spending good money for a marketing agency, if you're spending around $1,200 to $2,000 a month, well, this is what I would do. You want to hear it? Want me to get closer? I'm telling you a secret. Don't hire a marketing agency. Hire in-house. And you might ask me, Chad, well, how in the world can you hire in-house, paying someone full-time for $1,500, $2,000 a month? Well, in LA you can't, but that's below minimum wage. But you can hire them part-time, and you can get with someone and negotiate with them, how many hours per week can you work? And once you negotiate that time frame and negotiate that wage that's affordable to you, you have them come to your office and they work inside your office so you can see them. Okay, you know what they're doing. They're communicating with you daily because they're there. That's the best use of your money, is hire in-house. Yes, it takes a little bit of time. Yes, you have to interview. Yes, you have to talk to a lot of people, but you're not flushing your money down the toilet when you're hiring these marketing agencies. And I'm not saying all marketing agencies are bad. I'm not picking on marketing agencies. But to find a really, really, really good marketing agency, you're going to spend some money, okay? There are some awesome ones out there, but of course, you're going to spend some money, okay? So you're not going to spend $500 a month. You're not going to spend $1,000 a month. You're not going to spend $1,500, $2,000 a month. These marketing agencies that have top tier clients, you got to remember the minimum client most of the time is paying probably around 10 grand a month. Okay, that's why these large companies get results. That's why these large companies get results in SEO. That's why these large companies get results in digital marketing. Why are they getting results and you're not? Because the work is being done. If you're not getting results, either you're being lied to, okay, they're telling you what you want to hear, or they're just simply not doing the work. Sometimes it's a mixture of all three. I know that's maybe not what you want to hear, but this is what I've been told by a mentor of mine a long time ago in the beginning of my career. When I used to work in hospitals, my first manager, he was a director. That was my first management job, and I remember him sitting me down. He said, "Chad, the reason why I hired you is because you seem to kind of have a personality that when I'm wrong, you're going to tell me. Okay, you kind of like that in meetings, so forth and so forth. But you told me," he's like, "if you're just going to tell me what I want to hear, Chad, I don't need you here." And I worked in a huge department. And our department at that time was about 250 employees. That's not the business, because I worked in a large hospital. That's just our department. Our department had 250 employees. And we had a 10-person management team. So he basically told me, if you're just going to tell me what I want to hear, you're crippling my business. You're crippling what I'm trying to achieve here. I was hired here to clean up this department, make this department better. And if you're just going to tell me what I want to hear, you're part of the problem. It's because I already have managers here on the team that tell me exactly what I want to hear. I need you to tell me if you disagree with me. I need you to tell me you disagree with me. Respectfully, of course, but I need you to tell me if I'm doing something wrong, or if you don't agree with something. I need you to speak up and tell me. And this is the same thing I'm doing here. I'm just speaking up, giving you my advice, giving you kind of my experiences. That way, whatever you do with the information, it kind of helps you make a better decision. So, not saying your decisions are wrong or right, it's just a decision. That's it. Other than that, my friends, I'm Chad Napier. This is the end of SEO B.S. I'll see you at our next episode.